So growing up, I went to a predominantly black school, and a lot of the kids who went to the school were from West Africa or they were from the Caribbean. And so I was really badly bullied. I went to a Christian school as well. So I was really badly bullied for being different. And it was interesting because obviously you hear that, like, in society, the lighter you are or the more your hair is like this way, that's the way that you'll be treated better. But in school, it was like I was hated for being lighter than, or I was hated for the way that my hair was straight or whatever. And so I think I think when I was younger, I really hated being Sudanese. I really hated being black, if I'm being completely honest. And so growing up, I just tried to be as white passing as I could. And I tried to, I really didn't care about my culture or learning the language or anything. And because I grew up in England, I didn't grow up speaking Arabic. So I think it was really hard growing up, and I was very out of touch with Sudan, even if I went back to Sudan every year with my family. But now that I'm older, and thank God, I went to university and found a great group of Sudanese people, joined the Sudanese Society, became part of the committee. And I think it was then in university where I was like, okay, this is where I fit in. Because when I was younger, I really hated being Sudanese. So I tried to be like the Arabs because I was like, oh, they're a little bit closer to me. So I tried to be like the Arabs and realized that growing up, Arabs don't accept me. So it was kind of that, I don't want to say identity crisis, but it was kind of that, like, I didn't really know where I stood or who I was in which community. And so when I went to university and I found the Sudanese community, that's when I really felt like myself. And so, yeah, I definitely think that now I'm more in touch with being Sudanese, even if I'm not able to go back as much as I'd like to. It's definitely the identity and that I connected the most. And I definitely think that I'm more in touch with my Sudanese identity.
There's certain aspects of being Sudanese that I've lost touch with. So, for example, I think the language. I came here at a young age, so my vocab is limited to a 12-year-old's Arabic. Like, that's what it's limited to. I don't know any more than that. But there's some aspects that I'm still very in touch with because, in the end, majority of my memories and everything that I've made when I've been growing up have been in Sudan. So there's some part of me that will just never lose touch with Sudan no matter what. But I think the major part is probably the language.
I would say that I'm pretty in touch with Sudan. My parents raised me in a Sudani, like, typical household. So I was spoken to in Arabic growing up. I can speak Sudani, and I would go back regularly before the war. So I think, yeah, I'm pretty in touch with Sudan.
So my parents kept the culture like alive at home through the food, the language, and we kept in touch with our relatives, like phone calls and messages. And then during the summer, we would go and visit. So that's when, like, that was the biggest part of, like, seeing Sudan as much as possible. And then even like now here, when we can't go, like, there's such a big, like, Sudani community here in London. So we keep in touch with that and to our friends and, like, listen to music. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I'm pretty in touch with Sudan. I guess more recently, it's been difficult to feel in touch with Sudan in terms of, it feels a lot more scattered. Sudan is in more pieces than it was before. But, I'm always trying to keep up to date with what's happening, sharing and raising awareness with people who maybe aren't paying so much attention to what's happening in Sudan. And I think in terms of over time, how my relationship with Sudan has been, I think that it's always aspirational, I would say, to have a good relationship with Sudan for me. And yeah, I mean, I've always tried to visit as often as I can, and maintain, stay in touch with all of my family and friends there.